Bill Martin.
Hello, nice to meet you folks. Hi, my name is Will. A friend of mine recently told me I look like someone's imaginary dad. Out of an orphan's daydream, just ready to go. I grew up Christian, you can probably already smell that on me. Does I seem like a greeter at church? Like, hi, so glad you're with us today. Hope you're not different. There you are. Hi. I'm 25 years old. Been told I look mid-30s. A couple audible whats at that. So I have the vibe of a man optimistically entering a second marriage. That's all right. Last week I was at the grocery store checking out, and the pretty cashier, she struck up conversation. She was like, "Oh, have you heard this band on the radio?" And I said, "No, I haven't, but I'll have to check them out." And then she said, "Maybe you have like a daughter that listens to them." How old does she think I am that I have a child with musical taste? Do I look 40 years old? Shit, okay. An audible yes. For my aged Sherpa over here in the audience, thank you. I'm a dumb guy. When I graduated high school, I got a set of towels with my initials on them. You know what I'm talking about? Like personalized towels with your own initials. I told my girlfriend at the time, I got these towels. They're mammogrammed. And she said, "No, they're not." She was right, of course. We got them mammogrammed. Happy to say we caught it early. Good. Dumb. I don't know the thing to say all the time. Last week, I went on a date, and we had sex, or as my dad would call it, and... I'll sit back. That's good. All right. After, right, we had sex. Not me, my dad. You get it. After... She was like, "Are you good?" And I wanted to answer emphatically in the affirmative. Yes, I'm good. But yes didn't feel like the right... I'm not proud of this. But she said, "Are you good?" And I said, "Big time." We've not seen each other again. I think the female orgasm is like flying because I never quite know when exactly the plane is going to land. I've flown before, I don't own a plane. Does this make sense? Sometimes dudes don't want to laugh at this joke. On dates, like, "No, babe, I know when you're going to." Say me personally, sometimes I'm on a plane, we're coming in for a landing, the engine is making a lot of noise. Like, here we go, we're gonna land, here we go, and then we pull up, not yet. Just getting resituated. It's hard to land a plane. Sometimes you need a co-pilot, vibrator. Sometimes I get in the air and I'm like, I should have read the manual to this plane. I need to ask this plane a few more questions before we land. Because anyone can get a plane in the air, right? You flick some switches, yank a knob. We're flying, baby. Flying. Hard to land a plane. Hard sometimes to land a plane. Finally, though, you can see the runway's clear, the engines, and the flaps open. I'm sorry about that one. This is the good show. Y'all are at the good show. It's fun. I have friends who rent condos, or they rent apartments, they rent where they live. I'm proud to say I work very hard. I do own my home. Oh, yeah, thank you. I do live in a van. Thank you. But I own the van. Some of us are concerned. Who has questions? I'm happy to field. At this point, the set's just a TED Talk. Who has questions about living in a van? That's sincere. Shout them out or raise your hand. How do I go to the... Okay, someone said, is it down by the river? Great joke if you're over 35. Great joke. To the young folks in the crowd, listen, there used to be a show called Saturday Night Live. It was huge. Great sketch, great sketch. Someone asked, how do I go to the bathroom? I have Tinder. Anyone else? Not in a gross way. Not in a... They have bathrooms. They use their bathroom. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it worked. I pooped at work when I lived in an apartment. Because that bathroom gets cleaned way more often than... okay, I lost you on poop. Who else has a question? Who else? Anyone else? We can move along if that's what you like. So much. That's fine. Anyone else? No? Does it drive? How low do you think of me that I drive a car to a van? It does drive. Thank you so much. 227,000 miles. It's a Craftsman home. It's got good bones. Anyone? Someone else shout over here. Where do I park it? It's a great question. Great question. I park it in, well, I used to park in residential areas. Like, not in anyone's yard, but like near the woods. Listen. Like in a chill way near the woods. But then, because it's a Dodge Grand Caravan. It's America's car. It's not a big, scary van. And I was like, I'm inconspicuous. No one will notice. And then one night, someone called the cops. And I was in the back. I was in the bed. And I took my eye mask off. Very fancy. And I went to the driver's seat, the foyer. Ended up being fine. I just moved somewhere else. I did one time park at a mall and I forgot where I parked, which was very high stakes. You ever lose your house? People are like, oh, 2008 was tough. I lost my home. I'm like, I get it. Even me. Is there one more, or we can move on?
How do you shower?
How do I shower? It's a great question. I joined a gym exclusively to shower. I had to check the rules at the gym, like, do you have to exercise? Like, can you go to church and just pee? Yes to both. The answer is yes to both. Okay, we'll move on.
You bring ladies over.
Do I bring ladies over? I appreciate that vote of confidence. You think I have the charm to, after a day, be like, hey, you want to go back to my place? Beep, beep. I like the van. I do have a day job, though. I have a classic, boring office job. Nice part about that, I realize, is at the office, I don't have to be nervous about small talk. At the office, all I need to do is shrug my shoulders and say the day of the week. Office jobs, you get it? How's it going, Will? Tuesdays! And they walk on by. Did you Greg from accounting was murdered by his long-lost stepbrother? Mondays. One interesting part about my job, I work in medical insurance, right? We bill insurance companies for medical diagnosis codes, ICD-10 codes. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Woo! We love the woo for ICD-10 codes. Big fans. For everyone else, across every hospital, there's one set of codes, right? Consistent across the whole nation. For headache, hemorrhoid, heart attack, anything you can imagine, there's a code assigned, right? The code list is so long. Here's my favorite ICD-10 code, okay? It's diagnosis code Z97.33XD, and that is, in a medical textbook, I'm not making this up, the diagnosis code for being sucked into a jet engine. For a second time. What? Can you imagine that man's life? Bob, I'm so sorry to hear it happen again. Wednesdays. I should say, too, I lost my virginity in November of 2016. Are we connecting? Are we? Where'd you go? Not a long story, right? Grew up Christian, got better. time to shag. I learned a lot. I learned that sex is a hoot. I also learned, okay, this is the embarrassing part. So the penis goes straight out. Don't leave me now, Comedy Studio. Come on, penis. And I thought never having, you don't have to make eye contact with me here. I thought that the vagina was just like straight across. Like the Lego, just a lot more rough sex requests than I expected to. I'm not sure if that's because I look like everyone's father. Just give spanking a different edge, that's all. Listen to me, they're like, spank me. I'm like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I've been Will Martin, y'all have been so nice. Thank you, guys.